Hey, movie recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a film based on true events entitled Soldier Boy. The movie begins in Russia, at a quiet riverside, where a family of 3 were enjoying their time. The youngest among them, Sergei Aleshkov, succeeded in climbing a tree. He then boasts to his older brother and mother. The peace is suddenly disturbed when German fighter jet was approaching their direction. The mother asked her children to quickly hide. Sergei claims he was not scared. He grabbed his slingshot and imagined striking the jet with a pine cone and destroying it. However, when he looks around, his mother and brother vanished. It was all a dream. Sergei wakes up frightened, calling for his mother. Just then someone was knocking on the door. He hastily goes to the door thinking it was his mother. A woman storms in panic. She was elated to see the young boy alive and informed him that his mother and brother is dead. She tries to convince Sergei to come with her, but he couldn't comprehend what was happening. The woman informed him that the Germans had attacked them and advised him to flee. But it was too late. Soldiers were approaching the house. The lady forced Sergei out the window, but before she can join him, she was shot and killed. As Sergei runs away, most of the houses in the village are burned down. He calls for his mother in vain, and runs away from there. The little child cried out for his mother, because he was lost in the gloomy, foggy forest. The following morning, Sergei goes by the river to hydrate, and after he had his fill, he heard some men speaking in a foreign language. Sergei, knowing that they are dangerous, quickly hid himself inside a tree's root, just in time for the 3 soldiers to make their way to the riverside. The German soldiers started a fire and ate some food. Sergei was startled by a snake. He manages to stay quiet until the soldiers went away, after which Sergei takes their leftover food. Later, the little boy navigates through the forest exhausted. It's been 2 days since he had a proper meal. While on his way, he seen some berries and didn't hesitate to eat them. Then suddenly an explosion occurs behind him. Took him by surprise. The little boy get dizzy and starts to hallucinate someone is lurking behind him. But Sergei stands tall and shouted he has a rifle, and he is not scared. He limps forward but falls unconscious after a while. While he is asleep, 2 Russian soldiers find him and bring him to base. Commander Kuznetsov, who's in charge of that base, explains to Sergei that they are on the same side and comforts him. Sergei in response introduces himself and shakes the commander's hand. The soldiers feels affectionate for the injured young boy and attends to him. They gave him water and feed him. The next day, a nurse named Katya applies medication on Sergei's wounds. Each time she robs some, he winces in pain. She agrees to sketch a tank to please him. Even the injured soldiers talk to the child, and feels lighter. Commander Kuznetsov visits Sergei at the hospital. Young child shared in detail what he had to go through. Sergei is fascinated by the commander's pistol and barge. After the bullets are taken out, Sergei was given a chance to hold the pistol. He then shows off his tank on his stomach. Moments later, the commander is on his way. Nurse Katya asks him to let Sergei stay, but the commander declines the request, claiming that the base is no place for a child. Some of the soldiers visit Sergei in the hospital from time to time. They even bought him a binocular. In one instant, they bought him food sent by their families from afar. One evening, Katya confides in a fellow nurse that she can't sleep, because she keeps fearing she'll never see Sergei again, if they send him away. But she wasn't alone. One day, a soldier approaches the commander and requests permission for the young boy to stay with the battalion. But the commander insists the boy should leave for good reasons. War isn't a place for a child. The following day, the Germans attacked. Many soldiers were hurt, but the Russians managed to hold them off. After the extreme firefight, a soldier awaits to take Sergei to the orphanage. Kuznetsov takes a seat and breaks the news to Sergei. He then gives him a wooden pistol. Sergei in return hugs him tight. The commander couldn't bear it and changes his mind. He then asks Sergei if he wanted to be his son. Sergei answered yes. The soldiers are overjoyed to have Sergei stay with them as they search for infantry uniforms for the young boy that evening. Sergei is then awakened by the commander and given the clothes. He wears them and runs around appearing to be a real soldier. Sergei runs around the camp happily, and the soldiers were just as happy to see him. The Germans launch an air attack on the battalion. The Russians quickly take Sergei to a foxhole. The number of wounded soldiers increases rapidly. Sergei tries looking for the commander and Nurse Katya, but he couldn't find them. He wants to make himself useful, so he brings water to thirsty soldiers. While helping out, one of the soldiers requested Sergei to read a letter due to the bandage covering his eye. The young boy wants to assist but is unable to read. He takes the letter and begins fabricating a story. saying the soldier's cow is safe at home. When the soldier claims not to own a cow, the others tell him to go along with the story and laugh. He reads everyone else's letters in a similar way to lift their spirits. Later the commander sees Sergei sleeping on Katya's lap. They seem attracted to each other. Commander Kuznetsov attempts to express his feelings but can't. Then Sergei wakes up. He informs the commander that he is one of the orderly positions in the battalion and starts introducing himself as one. Same time the boy then witnesses one of the soldiers' stations destroyed by the attack. He learns from the commander to remove his hat in honor of the fallen soldier. The following day Sergei asks the commander if he has any mission for him. Kuznetsov orders him to distribute the letters to the soldiers. He completes his assignment and even gets the soldiers to dance for him. The next day Sergei was playing around with his binoculars when he saw someone's leg moving from inside a haystack. He then rushes over to the soldiers having a meal to report it. The soldiers are skeptical, but they decide to check it out anyway. Sergei leads the way and instructs them where to find the enemies. He was right, there were 2 German spies hiding by the hay. The spies are apprehended, and the child is praised for his intelligence. That night, the commander shows Sergei the legal documents for his adoption. He is now the child's legal father. He then insists that they should share the amazing news to Katya. When he sees her talking to another man, he incorrectly assumes she is interested in someone else. Not long after, another firefight erupted. Sergei lends his strength to the soldiers by delivering bullets. The soldiers told him to get back to safety, but the child is stubborn, so the soldier gives him a command instead. Sergei follows the command and heads to safety. When he arrives at the shed, he sees the commander and others in a state of panic because the phone connection with the colonel has been lost. Sergei hears this and follows the line until he gets to an injured soldier. Despite the danger, Sergei crawls up to the man and asks about connecting the line. The soldier then teaches the young child before dying, and Sergei did it all by himself. Kuznetsov was able to reach HQ and request reinforcements. Everyone's lives are saved by the 6-year-old. Later, we see the commander and Katya talking by the river. Finally, the commander confesses his feelings for her and asks her to be Sergei's mother. Katya is overjoyed, but before she can say anything, a soldier approaches them and hands the commander a letter stating that they have been ordered to leave the base. The next day, all of the soldiers including Sergei leave for their new base. However, they come across a minefield on their way which blows off some of their vehicles. The commander is injured, and the group's orderly with whom Sergei had a close relationship is killed in the explosion. He sobs and embraces the commander. They continue their journey while carrying the injured ones with them into their new base. When they arrive at the other base, they run into the commander's leader, the general. He too is impressed by the kid's ambition and commends the commander on having such a bright child. The next day, their division receives a guard's banner, so does the boy. When the general hands him his badge, he promises to save his country. Their base is brutally attacked one night, and the commander is trapped beneath the ruins. Sergei sobs for his father and makes an effort to intervene. He calls the other soldiers, who eventually bring out the commander. The following day, Sergei approaches an injured commander. His hands have been injured while attempting to save the commander. The boy is now an indispensable member of the team. He has no family besides them and moves around a lot wherever they may go during the war. The film concludes with the regiment moving to a new base. A voice in the background says he even fought in the Stalingrad battle and made it to Poland with the soldiers. He is now recognized as the world's youngest soldier. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this and leave a like to help the channel out.